Hey there, this is going to be a short video on how to find excess using grams, specifically mass. So once again, the first thing that we need here is a balanced equation. So this kind of question would typically be something like, if you're given 5.00 grams of N2 reacting with 4.00 grams of H2, there would actually be two questions. One would be, what is the limiting reactant? You should have watched those videos and so have a basic understanding of how to find that. And then the actual question would be, what is the quantity that is present in excess? Now, it is important to understand that we're not just asking you to identify the thing that is excess, but we're actually asking you to identify the quantity, right, that is in excess. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're first of all going to ignore the thing that we typically found in the previous questions. We're going to ignore what is referred to as the theoretical yield, right? And what we're going to do to first of all find out the limiting reactant is we're going to find the molar masses of the two reactants, 28.02 for nitrogen, 2.02 for hydrogen, and then we're going to do the little shortcut technique of 5 divided by 28.02 divided by 1. Remember that coefficient comes down and divide moles by 1. And for H2, we're going to do 4 divided by 2.02 divided by 3. So the answers there are going to be 0.178 and 0.660. So as per earlier videos, the lower of the two is always the limiting reactant, right? So the limiting reactant in this case is N2, and that means that the H2 is actually the excess, right? And so now, we've sort of done step number 1. Step number 2 is to figure out the quantity of excess, right? So what we're going to do in that case is we're going to make the H2 be the unknown. And that's an important difference here between the earlier questions where typically the theoretical yield was the unknown, but now the other reactant, right? The other reactant that is not the limiting reactant is the unknown. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go 5.00, that's grams of nitrogen, times 1 mole of N2 over 28.02 grams of N2, that's a 0, times a mole ratio of 3 over 1, right? That's moles of H2, which is the unknown, over 1 mole of N2. And then last but not least, we're going to multiply by 2.02 grams of H2 over 1 mole. So watch the units. Grams of N2 go away, moles of N2, moles of N2, moles of H2, moles of H2, and we're left with grams of H2. All right, so this answer is going to turn out to be 1.08 grams of H2, and since I was given initially 4 grams, what we're going to do is we're going to take the 4.00 grams of H2, which was the given information, and we are going to subtract from it the calculated value that I just did over here, which is the 1.08 grams of H2, which is what we'll call the amount that is needed. So the last step of an excess question is always to do this kind of subtraction. And when we subtract, we find out that there are 2.92 grams of H2 that are in excess. And so the specific quantity that is in excess is that answer of 2.92 0.92. Okay, hope that made sense and helped. Thanks.